Hey everyone, my name is Wedge, and yes, Planeswalkers! There are also other M15 spoilers that are amazing, but Planeswalkers, woo! Okay. Obelisk of Urd is 6 mana for an artifact with Convoke. As Obelisk of Urd enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +2/+2. Boom! Slivers, elves, horsemen, man-cow bear bulls, and that's just potential standard tribal targets. I won't even get into the fact that cards like this in Commander are always wanted. Just saying, I can't think of a Vampire Commander player that would ever say no to more effects like this. Convoke makes it super easy to cast too. I'm playing this for days. Here is something I absolutely did not expect. Another new Ajani. Ajani the Steadfast, that's our best translation, is 3 colorless and 1 white for a 4 loyalty Catman Planeswalker. You can +1 him to give up to 1 target creature +1/+1, lifelink, first strike, and vigilance until end of turn. His -2 lets you put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control and put 1 loyalty counter on each other Planeswalker you control. I can feel my heart beating faster. Holy crap, that's awesome. Okay. He can also -7 to give you an emblem that says, quote, if a source would deal damage to you or a Planeswalker you control, prevent all but 1 of that damage. I have no idea where to begin. I feel like I'm about to have a nosebleed. Holy poop. Okay, his +1 is insane. In a Planeswalker control deck, you can turn Mutavaults into dangerous beatsticks. Not only that, but where this card is, Courser of Kruphix will probably follow. A 3/5 Vigilance Lifelink First Strike utility Centaur seems stupidly good. The versatility of that first ability is just dumb. Ajani's second ability is near seizure-inducing. Putting a 1/1 counter on each creature is whatever. Giving loyalty to each other Planeswalker you control is so broken. This Ajani is sending a very clear signal. Make a Super Friends deck and put me in it or I will hurt you. Not gonna lie guys, I'm gonna start testing with this Ajani like right now. Blue-white control is my baby, but I can't ignore the call of the Super Friends. This is 4 mana, so it isn't as aggressive as Caller of the Pride, but it's not supposed to be. This isn't a purely aggressive walker. He's made for a mid-range, control-y type strategy. Ban Super Friends might be the real deal. He is standard worthy. Not overpowered or anything, but he'll be around. We finally got our last avatar. Soul of Pharos is 4 colorless and 2 white for a 6/6 Vigilance avatar. You can pay 4 colorless and 2 white to give creatures you control +2/+2 and first strike and lifelink until end of turn. You can also pay the same cost and exile them from the yard to do the same effect. Okay, a few things. 1, that art is beautiful and I want all of them in foil. No, seriously, like all of them. You can't have any. 2, this is definitely one of the better souls by far. The ability is disgusting. Even if you just cast it when the soul is the only creature out, you have an 8/8 Vigilance First Strike Trampler. It's awesome. This ability is relevant in multiple formats. It is super expensive, so breaking that standard wall is going to be difficult, but of the souls we've seen, this is one of the more likely to accomplish that feat. I love this card. We all knew Chandra was getting a printing. What we didn't know was which one. Well, we do now. Chandra Pyromaster is getting the M15 makeover. Red players should be giddy beyond reason. She's far and away the best Chandra ever printed. She sees play in multiple formats and really is the only Chandra worth the mana cost. Her +1 is okay, but her 0 ability is what makes her so strong. Red players want more card advantage. Well, for the next year, enjoy setting things on fire. Now, if only you had Lightning Bolt back. Oh, shucks. Here we go. Nissa Worldwaker is 3 colorless and 2 green for a 3 loyalty Planeswalker. Her +1 makes target land you control become a 4/4 elemental creature with trample. It's still a land. She can also use +1 to untap up to 4 target forests. Her ultimate is -7 to search your library for any number of basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Those lands also become 4/4 elemental creatures with trample that are still lands. I think I need a minute to really absorb what's going on here. Is this real life? This Nissa's insane. 1, She ditched the elves. Elves are pushed to the wayside in favor of land elementals. The synergy with herself is nuts. She makes lands 4/4s permanently, then she can untap them after they attack. This doesn't even take into account that her ultimate is both hilarious and definitely possible to get to if you just create a giant wall of elemental lands, some of them potentially indestructible. I'm not done yet. She adds Devotion to green. When she comes into play, you can untap up to 4 of the lands you used to cast her. Granted, they have to be forests, but for a couple months that does still include shocklands. If you have your mana situated right, that's almost a free planeswalker. Who says no to that? No one says no to that. If I keep going, I might start hyperventilating. Okay, just... She will see play. She has to. Planeswalker Tribal seems to be a thing now thanks to new Ajani, and if there's anything a slow control Planeswalker deck likes, it's lands that can double as creatures. Ask Mutavault, he can explain it better than I can. In addition to all this craziness, we have a new cycle of Kurd Ape-like creatures. Let's run through these. Dauntless River Marshal is 2 mana for a 2/1 that gets boosted as long as you control an island. A 3/2 for 2 is decent. Plus, while 4 mana to tap a creature is annoying, in Limited, this guy is going to be both hysterical and rage-inducing. Jorubai Merc Lurker is 3 mana for a 1/3 leech that becomes a 2/4 if you control a swamp. You can pay 1 colorless and 1 black to have target creature gain lifelink until end of turn. I like this. This ability is cheap. He has respectable toughness with the swamp buff, plus he can activate his ability multiple times each turn pretty easily. 2 mana is super cheap for that effect without tapping. He's good. Nightfire Giant is the skeleton we saw in the booster pack yesterday. 5 mana for a 4/3 that becomes a 5/4 if you control a mountain. You can't pay 4 colorless and a red to have it deal 2 damage to target creature or player. This is a bomb in Limited. If you're in both black and red and you untap with this guy, you can just start pinging things down. Sure, 5 mana is a lot, but you're always looking for ways to dump mana late game. This guy's perfect for that. It also helps that he has a huge body seemingly made from ethereal fire that'll be good in combat. Kurd Chieftain is Kurd Ape's steroidal big brother. 4 mana for a 3/3 that becomes a 4/4 if you control a forest. You can pay 4 colorless and 1 green to have target creature get +2/+2 and trample until end of turn. This is a bit more expensive overall than Flinthoof Boar, so I'm not exactly celebrating, but in Limited it'll be fine. Outside of that, it's just too expensive. The ability's fine, it's just a bit too rich for my blood. Lastly, we have Sunblade Elf, 1 green mana for a 1/1 that becomes a 2/2 if you control a plains. You can pay 4 colorless and 1 white to have creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. This guy is basically a toned down version of Wild Nacatl, and that's okay. Because he's 1 mana, he might see standard play in a Selesnya aggro deck. At least he'll have the luxury of Temple Garden for a few more months. Even after that, there's a decent chance you'll see this guy post-rotation. It's hard to ignore 1/1s with abilities and no real drawback. Today was easily the most eventful day so far in M15 spoilers. My knees are shaky, I have like sweaty palms. I think I get into this a little too much sometimes. Also, if I'm being completely honest, today's spoilers alone make me want to pre-order boxes of this core set. It isn't often that I say that. What do you guys think? Does today make you more hyped for M15? I know I'm on the hype train. Let me know in the comments. As always, subscribe for the latest and most reliable M15 spoiler information you could ever need. This is the Manosaurus, I'm Wedge. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.